Matt Canning, BodybuildingPro.com. We are here at the 2013 Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic in Columbus, Ohio. I am here with Kris Gethin, the main male spokesman for Bodybuilding.com, has a rich history with Bodybuilding.com going back to 2005. Kris, recently I got your copy of your book. This would have been at, I think, last year's Arnold Classic, the 2012 Arnold Classic, Bodybuilding by Design. Great book. A lot of my friends liked it as well. What did you make of the experience with publishing that book?
Well, that was between myself and Ryan DeLuca, basically. You know, we used the science that was exposed to us from BodySpace. We wanted to find out exactly what was the transformation trigger or the tipping point that would make somebody go from A to B. You know, we had thousands and thousands of people to look upon, and that's what we did. We studied exactly what these people's tipping points were, and, you know, put them into what we call like the 4 pillars of power and a flow chart and these tips, and made that book unique in this, you know, basically these studies that we've done on real life transformations, and put it into a motivational piece for people to utilize themselves. So we basically unlock those secrets.
Now, Kris, speaking of transformations, you've been through one yourself. Going back many years, you're continually improving. Some people might say that your physique is attainable. I'd like to believe it too, but you know, I mean, I'm a bit more realistic than that. How would you feel about the people who look at your physique and aspire to be that way when they think it's attainable? How do you feel about people who aspire to you in that sense?
Well, I don't want to have a physique that would be deemed as attainable. I want something that people deemed as unnatural or attainable, because I do unnatural things in the gym to get unnatural results, you know. I like to think that no one can hang with me in the gym, and that's exactly how I train, with that mentality every time. You know, I'm going in there to be the bully and kick the shit out of myself, you know what I mean? So, you know, I train with that intensity. You know, I'm trying to push the envelope with everything I can, with nutrition, with knowledge, with my training, with the intensity, to make sure that, you know, I've been training for 14 years now. I only put on like about 2 pounds a year, but that's consistent lean muscle gains. So you said, you know, I look quite different to what, you know, I did in 2005. Well, you know, that was like 7-8 years ago. And you put, you know, 2 pounds a year, you know, you got like 15-16 pounds of lean tissue. I'm going to look, you know, dramatically different, I would hope, you know, and I hope to continue having those gains. But, you know, people can attain it, but it takes a lot of effort, and it takes a lot of consistency and mental intensity, because I haven't missed a meal in those 14 years, not one single meal. I'm very proud of that fact, and I've got 14 years behind me of pressure now that I just cannot miss one meal. I just cannot. That would make me anxious and make me sick to death to know that I possibly could.
Kris, you're a very busy guy, and I don't really understand, frankly. I've been at the Arnold this week, and I've not been able to go to the gym yet. You're able to do it. What advice do you have for people who are busy, on the go all the time, maybe on the road a lot, things like that? How do you manage to? I don't even understand how you do it, frankly, because I see you at every expo, yet you don't miss meals, you don't miss workouts. So what would it take for a person, if you could give them some basic advice to try to get on the same path you are? I guess it's just habit, but what could you tell somebody who wants to do that and is struggling to do that?
Well, it is habit after a while, but it comes down to how bad you want it. I want it real bad every single day, you know. I'm motivated every single day not to screw up, because this is my outlet, it's my therapy. It prevents me from getting anxious, it prevents me from getting depressed, so I rely upon it, you know. But for other people, you just got to be prepared. I used to come to this event, I remember coming here a couple of years ago with 47 meals packed with me in my cool bag, you know, in Ziploc bags instead of Tupperware containers, because that takes up too much space. So I was making some turkey and egg white and oatmeal meatballs and just throwing them into Ziploc bags, freezing most of them, putting them in the fridge when I got here. But now, you know, I've got my food line out now, Nutrition by Design, where, you know, I just have to add hot water to it. So I go outside here where they serve the coffee, and, you know, I've got my meals. So I'm eating about 4 of them a day at the moment. I don't normally eat them. Maybe I'll eat 1 a day, but I'm eating about 4 of them a day at the moment, and get my breakfast in and a couple of meals in the evening. And I eat quite a lot during the night. I don't sleep much. So that's how I'm able to get my workouts in, I guess. I only sleep like 4 or 5 hours a night. I know it would be much more beneficial for me to sleep more so I could recover, but I just don't. I just don't sleep much. I can't. I wish I could.
Kris, I always see you in amazing shape. You look like you're always in the single digits body fat. I don't remember ever seeing you beyond 10%, maybe 10%. But I've always seen you consistently lean. Therefore, I don't think that you're very far away from competing. I mean, it's between 8 and 16 weeks away at any given time, if you were to do that diet. Do you have any intentions to do that?
No, last competition that I did was the state titles, NGA. which I won, and I was like, man, I'm not really into competing. I don't like the posing or anything like that on stage, and the tanning and the hair removal and all that sort of stuff, and the anxiety and the nervousness of getting on stage. I really don't like that. So I just like to train, so I have no intention to get back on stage, especially with all the tattoos I've got now. I've probably made sure that I can't turn my back and go back to competing now. But I try to stay in half decent shape. I do go up every now and again. Last time I went up was due to injury, and I got a bit depressed, and I ate more than I should have. But I try to stay in pretty good shape. The reason being is because the intensity of my training requires me to always do some form of cardio, because I can't maintain the intensity otherwise. I'll be blowing air and trying to suck in oxygen. So that's the reason why I try to stay in half decent shape.
What's the most efficient way for fans to follow you online?
They can follow me on BodySpace. I'm on there, on Twitter, and on my Facebook fan page. I'm always on Twitter as well. I'm Kris Gethin on any of these pages, so they can always locate me there.
Thank you, Kris. So I just want to make the point to say that I sometimes want to be confused and think I can look like Kris, but what looks attainable isn't necessarily very attainable. Don't let the numbers confuse you, whether it be Kris or somebody like Frank Zane who competed at 185. It might look attainable, but unfortunately it might not be. So I try not to let anybody get unrealistic goals. I want people to be realistic and shoot for what they can achieve. So everybody, here with Kris Gethin, Bodybuilding.com, here doing the interview for BodybuildingPro.com at the 2013 Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic in Columbus, Ohio. Thank you, Kris.
Thank you very much, Matt. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it too. Thank you.